Hello, 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 and welcome to the very first Tools Thursday. Super excited to have you join in us, whether you are live or watching on the replay. Um, Tools Thursday has been an evolution of my Marketing That Grows Your Business show. It's taken me a little longer to get it off the ground than I thought it would, but let's just say we're here. We're going to be doing Tools Thursday every Thursday, hence the Tools Thursday. So every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We move days for a variety of reasons, but hopefully this will work for most. Obviously, there'll always be a replay available. So excited to have you here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Garst. I am passionate about helping people turn their expertise into a real authority and become known as the person in their space. So I founded Authority Creator at the tail end of last year, and I've really been focusing on that. Excuse me. If you are new and you've never been on one of my lives before, would you just drop in #new and let me know? I'd like to give you a wave and welcome you personally. I hope and I see some of the oldies but goodies, folks that have come to my shows for years. So I appreciate you. I see Christine in the house. Hey, Christine. Suad, I hope I'm saying that correctly. We got Christine. And as you're coming in, just give me a shout out. Where are you in the world today? Okay, so Suat is new, so welcome. And everybody else, please give him a welcome. Michelle, awesome, new, great. I'm so excited to have you here. So everybody, please welcome all the new faces, and always exciting. We have Alabama in the house. Nicola, I love that name. What an awesome name. Christine is from Longview, Texas. And Jody, still in Ohio. Jody, how's the weather up there? It's been, it's funny. So let me tell you guys this real quick. Those of you who have been a part of my community for a long time probably know that I used to live in Tampa. So I've got a frog this morning. Anyway, I used to live in Tampa, and my blood was pretty thin, and my expectations for what was cold was pretty, like, if it was 70, it was cold, like, right? 70 degrees. So I've moved to Virginia, and now my expectations of, what's warm weather or what's cold weather has shifted. I'm like, oh, it's 50 degrees. It's nice outside today. So it's been kind of nice here in Virginia past couple of days. We actually hit 62, I think, yesterday. So, hey, Paul, I'm so excited that you're here. Paul is definitely a regular, and I'm always excited to have you. So Jody says the weather is yucky up there. Yeah. Ooh. And we've got Lakewood. Michelle is from Lakewood, Ohio. Oh, we got another Ohioan in the house. So welcome. Aaron from Winchester. All right. Excellent. All right. So let me thank you, Christine. Thank you. I am so excited to be back. I love live video and love sharing my knowledge. And so, exiting from Marketing That Grows Your Business, that show, having done that for over 2 years, it was a hard decision, to make that leap. So I'm excited, one, to be back, having a new focus, new year, new focus. Let me explain a little bit about Tools Thursday, and then I really want to jump into, what this is going to be today, talking about community, why it's so important. But Tools Thursday, my vision for Tools Thursday is this. It is, I think a lot of times there's so many strategies out there, so many what's that we can do when we're in business. And then you get lost in the how. Like, can I get an amen? Like, if somebody's like, oh, well, if you do this, like, go over on Instagram and use, start creating, I don't know, reels or whatever, but like with what, like what tool, like, it gets so overwhelming so quickly. And the reality is that there are so many tools or so many ways to skin the cat, right? Like there's just so many ways. Some tools are very similar. Some tools are easier for some people to use than others. So my intention with Tools Thursday is to share the what, but the how too. What's the mechanism? How do you line up the strategy with the right tool? Now, that doesn't mean that every strategy that I share or every tool is going to be the end all. Like, that's the only way to do it. But I want to help solve or bridge that gap between the strategy and getting a result. So I love being able to help people do the thing instead of, well, just go figure it out yourself. It'll work for you. And so I loved having an interview style show where I got to bring a lot of different what's to you, but the how was missing. And so again, I'm going to try this. I feel like I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to share a different connection potentially, and certainly hopefully give more value, which is always my guiding light, if you will. So all right, so thanks for bearing with me as I shared that. If you know somebody that's going to get value from Tools Thursday, please sprinkle this out into the world, pass it on. I feel like that, I don't know, I have a good feeling about this. I feel like that this is a needed thing that a lot of people aren't doing. So hopefully I can give you value today. So speaking of which, I see so many amazing people in the comments. I see a lot of double amens, and Nicola saying double amen. Yes, an amen, sister, right? Yeah, it's just a disconnect. So today I want to talk about community, and first I'm going to talk about what is community. I think that a lot of times people think community is something different than it is. Community is not just, getting a bunch of followers or, having a Facebook group where nobody engages. Community is real connection. So I see a lot of familiar faces that are here today, and that, in my opinion, is real connection, meaning they come back, every time I go live, or, they tune into my content consistently. But it's bigger than that, in my humble opinion. So I'm going to go back to my very first experience with building community and the impact that it has made over the years. So when Facebook first rolled out Facebook groups, do y'all remember that? Like it was a hot thing. It was like, everybody go get your Facebook group. And so I set up a Facebook group almost like day one. And I started what I called my inner circle. And initially it was totally free. And I had a business coach at the time that, was pouring so much into this community that she's like, you need to offer a paid version of this. So still keep your free. Y'all have heard this, right? Like, yeah, start with a free and then you move into a paid. Well, I did that. And I built out my paid community to about almost a little over 2,000 paying members. So people that were paying $47 a month. And if you do the math on that, that sounds pretty awesome, right? Like $47, 2,000 people, that's pretty good. But that is no longer very viable for most people. But going back to the community piece, because this is really the lesson I want to teach here, not necessarily about paid communities. The community aspect. So a lot of those people that were in that community would come to all my trainings. They would come to live events that I hosted. They would, and this is the part that's really powerful, they would collaborate with each other. They formed in some cases, they became business partners with one another. They got on each other's webinars or their podcasts or whatever. They supported and loved each other up. We knew when somebody had a death in the family. We knew when somebody had a baby. I mean, it was more than just our businesses. It was a celebration of one being on the same path for sure, but it was also experiencing life together. And that was a powerful thing. So let me fast forward. So that was years ago, right? About a week ago, I had a gal who is, she's also a paying member for my Go Social Content Club. My Go Social Content Club, just real quick, is a We create social media, pre-designed, professionally designed social media content. So you don't have to, essentially. So she's been a member of my Go Social Content Club, again, for years. And she was having trouble logging in. So she reached out to me personally. I said, let me fix this for you. And she came back and she's like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. She said, by the way, I just wanted to let you know that I still, to this day, do business with a lot of the people that I met in your original inner circle. That's been years ago. I mean, that's like, probably 8, 9 years ago. And she is still connected to people and doing business with people that she met through a community that I started. That is community. That is what I want to really focus on today. And then I want to focus on why it's more important today. Community's been a thing, like, right? How many of you guys have heard the term community? Like, yeah, you got to build a community. Yeah, you need an audience, and we're all out there hustling to do the thing, right? Like, again, let me get an amen on this. But we're trying to do all the things. So you probably are going to be maybe a little bit shocked about some of the things I'm going to share today, because I feel like, and I'm going to just say it, I think social media is dead for the average business owner in its current configuration. So I'm going to explain that in a little bit more detail, but that's a hook for you. 1, why am I saying that? 2, do I really mean it? And what do I mean by what I just said? Okay, so hang in there with me. I'm going to share my screen. This is just a very, very basic, thing that we're going to go. I didn't do a lot of slide preparation today. We're just going to talk about all the things. So how do you earn a living building community online today? Now, I shared my inner circle example where, I was selling $47 memberships to a community, a group. But today, I think that is not a viable solution for most. And this is why. When you have a low ticket offer, like $47, it takes a lot of people paying you $47 to get to a substantial amount of monthly revenue. And from a traffic perspective, you have to have you either have to have a big community to sell into in order to get enough people to paying you $47 a month to make it viable, or you have to pay for that traffic. And if you pay for your new members into your paid membership, you pay more to acquire them than you're going to make based on a stick ratio. So, if you're going to buy a client or a new member in your membership, it might cost you $150 or more, depending on, what the situation is. But, how long are they going to stick with you? The average stick ratio for memberships is, 3 to 4 months. So you could actually lose money if you're paying for your new members. So again, that's not necessarily what I want to focus on here. I want to focus on really how you can use and build a community of people, a connected community of people, a real community of people, and turn that into $10,000 or more in profit in 30 days or less. So how many of you guys have a high ticket offer? Now, when I say a high ticket offer, that's something that is probably in excess of $2,000. So just pop that in if you don't mind. I would love to get a little clarity, and don't hesitate to tell me what it is. I would love to know, what is it that you sell? If you don't have a high ticket offer that's over $2,000, don't panic. Okay. Don't think that this isn't something you can do. Because the next thing would be, how do you get a high ticket offer? But that's a conversation for another day. I want you to set back and take all this in, because even if you don't have that, it doesn't mean you can't have it, is my point. And more importantly, it doesn't mean you can't implement this strategy and run with it. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is, what do you need to sell online? Now, this is true, I think. Yes, I'm so glad Rhonda mentioned this. It can be a service that you provide as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a course or a product. It could be, a service that you offer as well. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's that high in price. Technically, you can still, like I said, you can still use what I'm teaching you today at a lower ticket price. It just is going to take more people to amass, more people to say yes to get to a $10,000 month. But let me focus. Let me keep on track here. So what do you need to sell online? You need two things. And I know this, I say this a lot and it seems oversimplistic, but it's true. You need something that someone wants, meaning you need an offer. You need a product, a service, a solution that people are willing to pay for because they know they have the problem. They know they need a solution to XYZ, right? So having a connection or having an offer that's irresistible to your ideal person is, in my opinion, an absolute necessity. If you don't know what that is, then you need to stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. And that's the first thing come to mind. But you do need to stop. You need to evaluate that, and you need to come up with what that is. Because it's very hard to sell something to someone that they don't want, right? Like or they don't need. That's just common sense. So you need an offer, an irresistible offer. And you need traffic. You need to put it in front of the people who want it. Okay, that's okay, Kim, that just makes total sense. You're telling me something that it can't be that simple, is it? Yeah, it really is. It's that simple. So, thinking this through, going back to, do you have an irresistible offer and what's traffic? Let's talk about traffic real quick. So traffic comes in a variety of, I call it paid traffic, meaning you're going to pay using Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Pinterest ads or Twitter ads or any type of mechanism where you have to pay to put your offer in front of the people who want it, right? So that's one way. But let's get real. Most of us don't have the extra money to invest in our business to do that out the gate. Maybe you have some revenue coming in, but you don't have enough that you feel comfortable paying for traffic. That's why, guess what? Social media is so popular, right? Social media is so popular because it has been a mechanism in most business owners' minds that they think that they can put their offer out there on social. It's free. Therefore, they're going to get the leads and sales that they need. So my question to you, and please, I'm not trying to criticize anyone for using social media because I've made my living for years, off of social media. But my question to you is this: are you out there hustling your tush off on a daily basis on social media, doing all the things, trying to do all the things, and you're not getting the result that you're looking for? So please let me know if that is you. Are you in constant hustle mode? You don't have a consistent way to generate leads other than trying to get, people to see your content on the socials. I mean, like I say, there's no judgment here because I see this all the time. And I see it even in my 1.5 million followers on social media community, using the community term loosely. 1.5 million social media followers does not equate to community because the majority of people don't see my content on a daily basis. The majority of my revenue, get this, y'all, you know how much of my revenue comes directly from social media, meaning I can track it? About 2.5% of my revenue comes from social media. So my question to you is, and I had to reevaluate myself a couple of years ago, why am I killing myself to do all the things on social media if I'm not making money with it? Now, I can make money teaching other people how to do the things, and I did, because I was at that place where I believed that was a mechanism that most people needed. That is no longer my belief system. So I felt like I was just being a part of the problem because I was teaching people how to do whatever, the latest shiny social media object, when they didn't have business foundations in place. They didn't have core things that I knew they needed. So I've shifted that. So point is, organic traffic and social media in particular has shifted over the years. It is no longer the big opportunity that a lot of us have been taught to believe. Okay. So organic is AKA free, or you could do a combination of the two. And that's where I'm at right now. I do a combination of the two. So again, just to sum that up, what do you need to sell online today? You need traffic and you need an irresistible offer. So let's talk about what kind of traffic constitutes, if you can't get out there on social media and do all the things, then what can you do to bring in a connected group of people who are your ideal person and love them up and serve them? Because even if, like, I'll just use this as a quick example. Even though I have, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, I can't see them and help them at the level that I would like to, because I have no idea really who sees what content on a daily basis. I have no idea what resonated with 500 plus thousand people. I just can't step into really serving them well, much less connecting with them, because I don't know who's even paying attention most of the time. So point is, you need to start a real community where you can start to amass a group of people who need the solution that you offer. Okay. So let's talk about why this is so important. Remember, I said the one thing you needed to sell online is what? You need an offer, right? You need an irresistible offer. What's the second thing you need? You need traffic. So, and you need the right kind of traffic. So if I post on something on Twitter and it's business related, how many of my 700,000 followers on Twitter see that? Like, I have no way of knowing, right? Well, I might get impressions, but who? There's no touch point. But really, a real community of connected people, it's a free traffic source. And why is community so important today in particular? People are starving for connection today. Starving. So let me ask you guys, seriously, I would love to have a little touch point. Do you feel like you're lost when you just log in? Like, why am I even doing what I'm doing? Do I know why I'm doing what I'm doing on social media today? Like, I know I'm supposed to post, but like, what's the business outcome today? Like, we've gotten so used to doing the things that we don't even know anymore. Like, it's just so random. There's no outcome for it. Can you imagine if you just had even 10 people that needed what in a place, a place where they could come, and that those 10 people see your content, that they get value from you, that you can start to build out that know, like, and trust factor with? Wouldn't that be preferable? Preferable? Is that a word? I think it is. It didn't sound right to me when I said it. But wouldn't you prefer that? There you go. That's a better way of saying it. Wouldn't you prefer that to not having, it's like you're talking to yourself, right? Like, you just throw things out into the world. You have no frame of reference for who sees it. Doesn't help anybody unless they engage and talk back to you. So point is that people are craving connection. COVID really put us in, I think, a darker place. And I honestly think it gave the whole social media spectrum a whole new trajectory. So I'm going to talk about that in just a minute too. Okay. So people are craving community. Communities are a place to build real trust and credibility, particularly when you're on the same path or you have a shared mission. It also gives you an opportunity to impact more people from a transformational perspective. You can share information, resources, simply being surrounded by other people. It's like the people that are here today, most of you, I'm speculating, but I think all of you probably own your own business. You have a common theme. You have a common thread of interest. You're here. There's connection in that. There's power in that. I've used this example quite frequently. I can't walk out my front door and here you can't see anybody here. Let me use my house in Tampa as a better example, because we lived in a neighborhood there. I couldn't walk outside the door, my front door, and go to either neighbor on either side of me and them understand what I do for a living, get me, because they had traditional jobs. And it's not the same, right? It's not that you can't be friends with people that don't do what you do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, when you can really be surrounded by the right people that get you, do the same thing, on the same path, on the same journey, it builds a really interesting synergy. And it's a support system, essentially. People that are trying to do the same thing, get to the same place, support one another and love one another up, because it's hard to do this business thing on your own. And then I think one of the biggest things that I personally see when it comes to social media today, or the internet as a whole, is what I call attention overload. So how many of you guys experience this? And I always like to look at this through not just my lens, but I want you all to see it too. Like, do you get on social media with a focus? Like, I'm just going to get on social media, I'm going to post my thing, and I'm going to get off. Or I'm just going to look around, see what I see. Oh, wow, look, my neighbor's kid had a birthday. Oh, look at that cute little dress. Isn't that awesome? And before you know it, I call it crack book. You're down the track. Or you get on TikTok, and TikTok's like, or Reels. Reels is probably, I had to stop looking at TikTok because it just sucked me in. Reels are the same way, right? It's like, it's almost become our entertainment. But it's attention overload. We are, as marketers, we are vying for our person's attention. Do you know how hard that is today? In years past, marketers would say, oh, you need 7 touch points before people will spend money with you. That was the average. Today, it's 30 to 40 touch points. Do you know how hard that is to get people to see your content 30 or 40 times consistently today in the social space? Like, we are day traders of attention, to quote Gary Vee, and it is hard. It is hard to be relevant and stay relevant in social today, and really build connection and community within the social frameworks. Okay. And I mean the traditional social platforms like, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, So, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I see as the transition that social is taking in just a minute. But building community today is more important than ever. And for all the reasons that I just said. And I feel like if we don't focus on this versus trying to continue to spin our wheels on social media, you're going to just continue to spin your wheels on social media. Okay. And I don't mean to discourage anyone. And I'm not saying social media isn't an opportunity, but I think in order to really affect community, you're going to have to do it differently. Okay. So let me share a couple more things with you. So why is building, we talked about that. Where should you build it? So now this is the next thing. I talked a little bit about why I don't believe just getting followers on social media is the answer today. I think it needs to be way bigger and more intentional than just a bunch of followers, because like I have 1.5 million followers, and I don't feel connected to the majority of those. I don't feel like I help the majority of those people on a daily basis. So if I don't, then, are they really community, kind of thing. So I'm not sure social media is where true community can be built. So do you use a Facebook group? Facebook groups are still an option. They're free. They have people are on Facebook. I'm going to make a case for not using Facebook groups. And there's been a lot of talk about this in the recent, over the past couple of years, where a lot of marketers are taking their communities and building their communities off of social media. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Actually, I thought I had a screenshot on here, but I guess I must have I think I put that on another training. But anyway, let me tell you the story. I have a friend that's in my mastermind. Her name is Maggie. And Maggie had built all of her, not only her free group community on Facebook, but she also had her paid communities on Facebook. And she had a two-step authentication on her login, and she ended up getting locked out of Facebook because of that two-step. It was a problem on Facebook's side. It wasn't that she didn't know her password, but it was a problem on Facebook's side. She was locked out of her Facebook account for almost 3 days, which meant that, guess what? She could not access her Facebook groups, her free community, or her paid ones. And she had things going on, like, it was a real issue for her. So a Facebook group is, you're reliant on the fact that Facebook is going to be there 100% of the time, that they don't change their rules, that they don't take your Facebook group if it gets too big. I mean, these are all viable and things, and you're like, well, that would never happen to me. Well, it has happened to others. That's why I'm sharing these things with you. You don't own your Facebook group. I don't know if you know that. You are the admin of that Facebook group, but Facebook owns that group. So, all right, just getting clarity on that. Okay, do you build it? Is your community your email list? Well, I'm going to say this because this is an interesting and dynamic shift, I think. And it makes sense. And if you think about it for a hot second, I have been a long time proponent of saying that you need to build your list, because the majority of my sales still to this day come through email, but that is even shifting. People are inundated with emails these days. People don't open, even if they're subscribed to your list, they're not opening your emails consistently. My email open rates over the years have gone down, 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 down. So that means that, again, you're not important enough in that moment when they're checking their email, or that email subject line doesn't grab their attention or whatever. That's one of the reasons that I'm a big proponent, again, of saying we absolutely need to be building community, a connected community where we can encourage people, love them up. They get to a place where they just can't wait to open your emails. So it's almost like a reverse of some of the marketing strategies that, we have traditionally thought about or known, or believed to be true. The only thing that is absolutely true in marketing is principles of marketing. They never change. Tactics change all the time. Who thought that like direct mail would come back? Well, guess what? It has. So the point is that if we don't evolve, we die on the vine. And I feel like a lot of people are dying slowly on the vine when it comes to the focus that they're putting on social. So, and potentially leaving out other components. So what does that look like? Again, moving back to really focusing on the people you serve and giving them a place to connect and a place for you to give them value. So let's talk about what does that actually look like. So I am a big proponent of off social. I've been, over the past 2 years, I've built my paid communities off of social media. And a couple of things that I think are value-based in this context and in this conversation that I have seen. One, I am no longer competing for their attention when they're inside of the community. So did you hear that? I just want to say it again. If somebody comes to the community, they're there for a specific reason. I don't have to compete with my neighbor's little girl's cute dress and her birthday cake, they're there for a specific reason, and I have their attention in that moment. That's a very, very important distinction. If I had that Facebook, my community on Facebook, I'd be competing with all the stuff that's on Facebook, right? They'd be distracted by this thing or the other thing. So I think if I had to say the one true value of, building your community off of Facebook is the fact that they're there for the reason that you want them to be there. And I think that's a powerful enough reason to say off Facebook would be your best option. But beyond that, let's talk about some of the things the reverse of them, some of the things I said about why people shouldn't use Facebook, right? Well, you own your group. Yes, you are going to be using a tool, but you aren't reliant on Facebook's whims. Like Facebook changes things every day, right? Like, so it's just kind of an interesting dynamic. So building off of Facebook, meaning a tool, and I'm going to talk about a specific tool that I'm using. I've used several over the past couple of years. The one that I just found recently, I'm totally in love with, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a sec. So again, Bill, I personally am going to vote for, just through experience, that you build it off of Facebook. And off of social media. Doesn't mean you can't use social media to get people to see that you have a free community somewhere else. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about what I said and I led off with earlier. Is social media dead? I feel like that social media has traditionally been a series of tactics. So do y'all agree? Like, okay, make sure you put your hashtags in the first comment of your Instagram post. Or no, you need to put your hashtags in your description when you put the original post, right? It's like a constant thing. It's been a series of tactics over the years. And the way a tactic usually works is it's discovered. Somebody says, this is the way to do it. And, it's optimized and people start doing it. And then, more and more people do it. And then guess what? That tactic loses its effectiveness. It starts to fatigue. Everybody starts to see it. Everybody starts to do it. It is no longer as effective as it used to be. Have y'all experienced that? I'd love to, and feel free to share what that looks like for you. Like, this used to work for me and it just doesn't anymore. I used to do this and, it was awesome when I first got started, but, I don't know that it's really working for me any longer, but you still do it. Yeah. I mean, feel free to share these things because I feel like that's where we have been with social media. It's just been a series of tactics. And I don't think it's the same anymore. I feel like that social media has become very fragmented. I think we're going to see in 2023 and going forward a lot of democratization. Man, I can't say that word. Some of the words just don't wrap around my tongue very well. And segmentation. Now, let me talk about segmentation and where we're seeing that right now. Be Real and TikTok are wonderful examples of how certain segments of people and certain segments of what kinds of content they're looking for has been it's just the platform has turned into a segmentation kind of platform. I think we're seeing that. I mean, all the numbers will show this. Like TikTok, Twitter is actually growing right now. And I'm sure that's just because people are, re-engaging because of the whole Elon Musk thing. That's a whole other conversation. But Facebook is declining. People are still using these resources. Don't get me wrong. There's still people there. I just think that they're getting very segmented, and the way people use them or engage with content on them has shifted, is my point. And when we are on social media, we are not building our own house. So I think it's time to build our own house and stop decorating everybody else's. So it doesn't mean that you need to stop sharing all content on social. That's not what I mean. But I think it's time to build your own place of connection. So let's talk about and why this matters. So old versus new. Traditionally, most people, when it comes to selling things online, they have to have that traffic source, right? Which means that they have to put a certain amount of those people will be kind of dumped into a funnel, assuming you have a funnel. And then, you'll get those people on a phone call, and then you'll present your irresistible offer to them. And a certain percentage of them will say, yeah. And the problem with this is that, and feel free to say, yep, this is what I do now. It works for me. It doesn't work as well as I would like it to, because I don't have consistent traffic. I don't have enough people looking, dropping into my funnel, getting on the phone with me. I don't have a consistent way to get leads. I don't have a consistent way to get clients. Is that you? Because this is traditionally, again, traffic, you either pay for it, and they don't have a know, like, and trust factor with you, so your close ratios are lower, or it's coming from social media or your email list or some other mechanism, but it's slow, right? It's harder to get the volume that you need in order to make the money that you would like to make. Can I get an amen? Like, is that where you are? Because I've been there myself. Even, by the way, with 1.5 million social media followers, it can be difficult to have enough quantity, because you can do a launch and you can scrape the cream off the top, and you may even have a great first launch, but then the next launch is less, and the next launch is less, and the next launch is less. So it's just like a vicious cycle. So I think that we can do this a whole lot better. I think we can create our own community, the community being our mechanism, because you can build the know, like, and trust factor by just simply showing up and giving value consistently. You're going to, of course, still want to get them on the phone more than likely. The way I use phone calls is I want to make sure that the person has a problem that I can help them solve. And then, of course, I make my offer. But the community component is really, if you're just going to rely on social media to give you enough traffic, you're going to continue to struggle, is my point. You have to build a connection with people in order to make this mechanism work for you. All right. So I'm going to show you my brand new free community. I'm going to open up my screen here and show you my free community. Hang on just a second. In fact, I think I'm going to have to, because I didn't have it pulled up. And the reason I'm going to show you this is, one, I'm going to invite you to join. So just telling you that straight up. But I want you to see how easy it is to have a connected community of people, and using a tool that is, again, easy to use. So let me just share my screen. Stop screen. Let me share the right one, and we will be in business here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this real quick. Actually, this is not the right. Let me get the right community up here. Here we go. All right. So this is a totally free community. I'm opening the doors today, by the way, but I want to show you, like, the components of it. So if you've ever wanted to build community, how many of you have courses? I'm curious if any of you have courses. Just let me know. Do you have a training? It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical course. It could be a training that you created. It could be a webinar that you did, but you don't have a way to connect the dots for people. So just let me know. Just raise your hand. I see Pam does. All right. So the way this particular tool works is it's got a community feature, meaning a place for conversations to happen. It's got a classroom. It's got a calendar so that you have a place for your events to be shown to the members of your community. It's got a list of all your members, and it's got a gamification feature. A gamification feature, what? So I'm going to talk about these independently. So I'm going to stay in the community for now, and then I'm going to go into each one of these and kind of outline how this works and why this is my current tool of choice when it comes to building online community. So if you have something on your calendar, the very next thing, it'll give a reminder to members that the next, actually Tools Thursday is happening now. You can pin comments to the top of your of the feed. This is what the feed is. If you see, I've got a number of things in here. You can, not only can you post, but so can your community members. And it's a very easy title you put in, and it's very similar to a lot of community tools where the conversations can be posted, shared, links can be shared. Attachments can be shared. Videos can be shared. You can conduct polls. You can add emojis and GIFs. And this is the thing that I think is super powerful. And it works in a variety of ways. It's a category. It's a way to segment content so that people can find content very easily. So you select your content choice, category, where you want the content, the post that you're putting to go. So general discussion, introduce yourself, announcements, brand deals, social media, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that is great because if I am looking to find, if I'm a member of this group and I'm looking to find content, I can go to filters right here at the top and I can filter the posts based on what I'm most interested in seeing. Okay. Or you can just keep the filters as they are. So having a great place to share your content, your post, and people be able to find the conversations very quickly and easily, I think is one of the things that is frustrating to me on Facebook. Facebook conversations I think they just get lost in the sauce. You can't search and effectively search and find content quickly. You can also use the search bar up here. So if I'm looking, I know somebody had a conversation a week ago around, funnels. I could type funnels in here and it would bring up all the conversations around funnels. Okay. So the point is that this makes finding content, categorizing content very easy. So as an admin for a group like this, that's super powerful for me and for the members as well. You can have a little area over here that tells about what the group is about. Start here, work with you, own your own group. You can put whatever you want here. And these are ways for people to quickly navigate to things that you feel are important, that they know about, or that give you some value. The classroom is, that's why I was asking about your website. Your courses or your trainings. This is a place for you to not only build community, but share content. And guess what? You don't have to unlock all this content for all of your free people. You can, they may have to do certain things before they can get access to this content. So for us, we've tied this into the gamification feature. So I'll talk about that in just more in a minute. But basically, the gamification feature, the more you engage within the community, which solves the engagement problem, right? If you have juicy stuff over here that people want, they're going to come back to the community consistently, which is what you want, in order to get the things that unlock for them the more they engage within the community. So that's one of the ways that the gamification feature works. But one of the things that we're going to give to people who come into our group is how do you create your own free group funnel? What does that look like? So that'll be totally free and open to all people who join. Some of the other content in here, you have to meet certain, you have to get to certain levels on the leaderboard to get that content to open up for you. So that's my point, is this is a really clever way not only to give value to your community, but also to keep them coming back and engaged within your community because they want the next thing that you're in your classroom. The calendar is just what you see here. You can put, like if you have accountability days or, working days or a free training that you're going to do, whatever it is, you can put this on your calendar. And this is, obviously dictated when they set up your members, when they set up their account, they set up their own time zone. So the times will be reflected in their time, their local time. And then, of course, all the members will be listed here. And the leaderboard is just, again, this is a gamification feature. So you can set this up however you want. You can call it, again, whatever you want. But the more people engage, the more levels of content in the classroom, the more it unlocks, is my point. So this is a really clever resource for not only building your community, but also giving value to your community. But I want to go back to one core thing. one of the problems that I found over and over again with Facebook is when somebody had a question, the questions got lost in the sauce, right? Like even if you used hashtag question, lots of times the conversations got lost. And more specifically, the problem would come in because what in reference to what? Like I don't know in reference to what. So in your classroom, if somebody is looking at a specific, I'm just going to open one of these up. So as you can see, this would be what it would look like. Your video is here, just very similar to other things where other tools, for example, you can list your resources down under. So, best creator platforms, want more help. The transcript is in here. All the things that you can do in like Kajabi or other tools that host your content. But let's say somebody is watching this video, they get to 3 minutes and 23 seconds into whatever I'm saying here, and they have a question. And they go down here and they write their question out. Guess what? This is posted back over in the community. And I now see that question and I know exactly where they are when they had the question. So can you imagine how powerful this is to us as educators? That not only can we see where they are, what spawned the question, but we can track the questions very easily as well. So I just wanted to highlight that is very, very powerful. Another thing that's very powerful, let's say, for example, that same person feels like that question is silly and they're a little reluctant to put it out into the main community because they're like, gosh, I'm the only one who has this question. I don't want people to think I'm stupid. Like, I hate the word stupid because nobody's stupid. And is no such thing as a stupid or a silly question, because if you don't know, you need to know, right? But let's just say that that's that person and they don't want to ask that question publicly. They can send me a message privately. They can go to members and send a message privately to me. Or they could send messages. You can actually communicate with each other because there's a private message feature up here as well, a chat feature. So notifications, you can get notifications. You can set your notifications to come, whenever somebody responds to you, or you can set it to a digest daily or a digest weekly, or, however it makes the most sense. But the point is that this is a functional tool, not only for building true community and connection. It's easy for you to manage, and it's easy for your members to really get value from it. They don't get lost in all the things. Sorry, I got a little bit of frog here. So I'm sure there's more that I'm missing, but I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go back to my document here real quick because I want to share the next steps. So I did the demo so you could kind of get a feel for the tool that I'm talking about today. I wanted to lay the groundwork for why this is so important, and give you a mechanism for doing it in case you want to do this yourself. But let me pull up my, let's see, hang on just a second, pull up the right screen. It only lets you share one screen at a time. So, all right. So we talked about, what you need to sell online, why you build community, where you should build it, is social media dead, old versus new. We did the demo. So I want to invite you to join my brand. Like I said, this is the first time I'm telling anybody about it. I'd love for you to join it. It's free. There's no cost associated with it. If you go to kimgarst.com/community, right now, you can join the group. It's like I say, it's totally free. Not only will you have access to the community moving forward, but we're also going to, like I say, there's some free training available to you immediately. One of which is this: how to double or triple your sales with a group funnel. So how do you do this yourself? Really is my point. I just shot that training this morning, so it'll be in the community probably within a couple of hours. So just wanted to let you know, I got to do just one or two small edits, and then it'll be up inside of the community. If you know, like if I've said something today that is like, gosh, she is so right, I have got to build my own community. I'm going to recommend two things to you. Join mine if you feel comfortable doing so. I don't want to make you feel like you have to, but if you feel like it would be value based to you, my goal in 2023 is really, again, really going back to my roots, getting back to building real community and not be focused on the bigger numbers, be focused on who attracting the person who really needs me and that I can really serve. And then having that community of people, just like my original inner circle. And then, but if you know, like, hey, I know I need to do this myself, and you are ready to run with your own community, you can do that like today. You don't need to join my community out the gate. My thought would be, if I were you, I'd be like, yeah, let me check it out. Let me get a visual into what somebody else is doing and see if it feels right. But if you're like, I got to do this, go to kimgarst.com/school. That's SKOOL. And you can grab your own group. It's free for 14 days. So you don't really have anything to lose. Get your group set up, play around with it a little bit, see if it feels right for you. Like I said before, I don't think there is that this is the only option when it comes to building a community, but having used a lot of the other tools over the years, I think it's the best one I've ever found. So that's why I'm giving it my vote of confidence. And we're using it. So not only are we using it for the free community that we're starting and want to really build up, but we're also using it for our paid community as well. So now I know we had some questions, so I'm going to go back and see if I can circle back to those. So Pam, when you get into the community, and give me a couple hours because I'm almost done with getting this training about how you do this yourself up. So I'll have that up within a couple of hours inside of the free community, and I go over that in depth, how you get new people into your community. So I'm going to provide that content, that training for you. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I'm scrolling back up, so you guys bear with me. As I try to find the questions. And I want to just give some shout outs to people who did give me or tell me what it is that their high ticket offer is. Like Michelle is saying she does business coaching for startups. Her offers, her irresistible offers are between $6,000 and $10,000. So, building a community of people, there's so many people that have startups today. They're lost in the sauce. I mean, this, Michelle. And, having a place where you could give like basic information, and then, if they want more consulting, more higher ticket things, you could roll them into your program. Or so again, these are all opportunities for people. We've got Amy who does debt elimination. She helps people save $2K on average. So again, how many people are in debt? Like so many people, Amy, and just, having a community of people where you could serve and give basic knowledge to roll them into your software. Right. So opportunity knocking for you. Let's see, just making sure. What else? And if you have a question, just haven't dropped it in yet, I'm going to circle back down to the bottom. We've had so many comments today, and thank you for that. That is validation that I'm not talking to myself, and two, that you're getting some value from it. So I'm so appreciative when you guys do engage. So is this community, so this is a great question. So Rebecca says, is this community platform one that you've created? No, it's not my tool, Rebecca. School is a tool that, trying to think of the founder, Sam Oven, I believe, is the founder of School. But loving the platform. It has made our ability to create a place. We started with our paid community first, built that out. And then I'm like, we need, I couldn't get into my Facebook community again. I started a free group almost a year ago for, this authority creator program that I have. And I'm just like, it just was a disconnect. It wasn't clicking for me. And so I'm like, this is it. This is absolutely what we're going to do going forward. So feel free to join, be a stalker, see what, how we're doing it. You can always grab ideas and connection around, what we're doing and potentially do it for yourself. That's such a great question. Thanks for asking. Okay, so how to bring your community from your Facebook group? Such a great question. And the short answer is there's several mechanisms to this. It's several layers. So let's say you're using the 3 questions on the front side of your Facebook group and you have an email list of your group members. Well, email them and let them know that you're moving, relocating, and why. Be very transparent about this. The other thing I think when you're in this move phase is you have to incentivize people to move. I think that's important. So showcasing why it's going to be different than the Facebook group. Like, what are you going to do differently? And what are they going to get that's extra or more valuable to them if they follow you to a new community? And I think that's going to be super powerful. So emailing them, posting in the group, outreach directly, I guess it just depends. The short answer too is that you can keep your Facebook group if you want and start to slowly pull people in that don't come with you out the gate. Meaning, let's say, for example, somebody has a conversation that's amazing inside of your new group. You could highlight that in your Facebook group and say, we're having this amazing conversation over on blah, blah, blah. Use that everyone tag now that you can tag everyone in your Facebook group and, invite them to come join the conversation. So there's just so many strategies that you could use to pull people from your Facebook community over to the new community. Hopefully that helped. All right. There's always a recording. Yes. So depending on, I see you're on Facebook. So right here on my Facebook page, this content's going to live on. So you'll see it here. And I'm trying to think where else. This is also going to be in the community, by the way. We're going to take these Tools Thursdays and drop them into the new community as well. And interestingly enough, this is another value add for folks. If you're creating content elsewhere, and it's all over the place, like there's no holding place for all the content that you have. This is a great place to start to organize your content and give people a place to connect with it. So, most people are not going to search back through my feed, my Facebook page for all the Facebook Lives I've done, right? Like, okay, I'm looking for one. It was 3 weeks ago and blah, blah, blah. It's so hard to find content like that versus if you have it available to them and all they have to do is look at the titles of your content. Oh yeah, there it is. That's what I want. And boom, they're in, so that's another way to take advantage of content you've previously created. Yes, Barbara, I have had so many conversations about you, girl. I am so sorry. We just spoke about you on Monday or Tuesday again. I'm like, did anybody follow up with Barbara? And we're like, did you do it? Did you do it? And we all said, no, we didn't do it. We thought you did it. So I am so sorry. We will get back to you today. I promise you. So thanks for your patience and asking again. Let's see. Is there a simple way to duplicate content for Facebook group members, paid in particular, for both in case they all want to transition? Putting it in both places, creating, I don't know exactly what kind of content, so it would depend on the content, I suppose, is the short answer. But I feel like making, and this is going to sound harsh, okay? So I don't mean it harsh, and you may not like what I say. So it's okay. I'm okay with that, because I would have a hard time with this too if I had a large community on Facebook. But making the decision to do something different is always hard. And it's hard to release things, I think. I mean, that was my situation with releasing my Marketing That Grows Your Business show. So when you've done something for so long and, you've kind of gotten the groove of it, it's hard to make change. And sometimes it's going to be hard for your community to shift and make that shift too. But I think there's a way to like move people slowly but surely, entice them to your new community with content and things of that nature. But again, do you want to put the same content in the same place? So I'm going to say this in the context of no, probably not, because why would they go to your new community if they can get it on Facebook? But this is the question I need you to answer in order for you to be able to make this decision. Are they really engaging with the content in your Facebook group? So what I have found lots of times is that people become a member of a Facebook group and they don't stay engaged. It's not because they're not still interested in what you do. They just never see your content. And again, you are competing with so many other people on Facebook versus having your community off of Facebook. And they get notification in their email when somebody posts on in the community. You can send an email to them from the community so that they know that you've responded to a question they have, or you've got new content that's been added to the community. They get an email about that, not a notification that's mixed in amongst everybody else's stuff. They get an email that brings them back to the community. Facebook does not have that capability, it's hard. We are competing with all these other opportunities and all these other visual components and, other people that do the same thing we do, versus if you have someone who's super interested in getting the value you bring them, and then giving them a way to get back into your community consistently through email, through good quality content. I think that is going to make a huge difference. And like I say, it could be a transition, but you need to, do people really engage consistently within your group right now? Are they engaging with the content? Wouldn't it be nice if you could get more people paying attention consistently? Christine says, if you pay in advance, do you get a discount? That's a great question. And I think the short answer is yes. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, Christine. Let me check on that. I'll find out. In fact, Rhonda may already know, but hang on. We'll find out for you. All right. So let me see what else. All right. Okay, so great. Rhonda, I knew she would be on top of it. She says, Christine, so they have what they call simple pricing. It's a monthly price right now. We've actually requested, I forgot Rhonda had requested tiered pricing. And primarily when we ask about tiered pricing, we were looking at it through the lens of we wanted to have multiple communities, a free one and a paid one. And we're like, well, can we get a discount for that? And they haven't implemented that yet. This tool, by the way, is fairly new. It's not been out very, very long. The way I found out about it is my business coach, my mastermind. He is using it. And when we started using it, we're like, oh my gosh, we love this. This is so much easier than the tool we were using, which got us to change our paid program to the tool. And now we're starting the free community. So hopefully that helps. The point is, when I say that this is a fairly new tool, they have a big list of improvements that are coming. A lot of really amazing things are on the way. All right. Now, if I miss somebody's question, holler, okay? I want to make sure we get everybody in the mix. So Cheryl asked a question. She's like, are you moving your lives from Monday to Thursday? Yes, I am, Cheryl. So basically I shut down my Marketing That Grows Your Business show. And it was on Mondays at 10 a.m. My reasoning for doing the Tools Thursday and shifting to this is about really marrying a disconnect that I saw, where I was bringing a lot of amazing people to my community, people who have an amazing strategy, but the disconnect always is in the implementation. Like I was sharing a lot of the what, but the how was getting lost in the sauce. So my hope, like today we've talked about online community and how important it is. So that's the what. I'm also giving you a tool to affect that connection. So my hope, like I said, is to, give you a core strategy that works, needs to happen potentially in your business, if you agree. I'm not trying to force anybody to do anything, but also giving you the mechanism for making it happen so that you can run with it. You're not stuck. That sounds, how many times have you ever listened to a training and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. I'm going to do that. And then you get trying to do it and you're like, I don't know how to do this. Like, what tool do I use? And then you end up not doing it. An amen, right? How many times does that happen to people? It certainly happened to me for sure. So, and I see it happening quite often across the board for so many people. They get lost in the implementation phase. Now, one of the things that we're doing is obviously, and that's a top priority, like I've talked about this, and I all through today's training, I've alluded to the fact that you get a free training on how you do this. Like, not only am I telling you that the tool that we're using, once you get into the community, well, give me a couple of hours because I just shot the training this morning. I got to make a couple edits on it. But the point is, you're going to get a training on how to do this. How do you create your free group? Let me give you a little bit about what's in the training. So we're going to talk about, getting your 14-day free trial, fundamentals of a great community, like what does that look like? How to set up your welcome post, how to use the classroom feature, how to get more people in your free group. Like how do you get the right people in your free group? How to maintain your group funnel, like, what's involved from a maintenance perspective, and then how do you monetize the darn thing? So all of those will be provided to you. All right. Well, I'm hoping to see you guys in the free community. You'll be the very first in. So just letting you know, early birds get the worm. And I'm excited to have this community open and really get back, like I said, to my roots about really loving up the people that need me versus, trying to be all things to all people. So I hope I see you in the group. We'll see you there again, hopefully. If not, and certainly if so, either way, we'll see you next Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. We'll be talking about a different tool next week, but definitely one that will give you an outcome. All right. We'll see you next week. Take care. God bless.